this game unfolded the way it did. And honestly, for those people who do love and eat, sleep, and drink the NBA, they see a lot of this. These comebacks are amazing. The first time in consecutive games in playoff history that a team has come back from 20 points down to win a game. And I'm just thinking to myself, first of all, Mikal Bridges was playing defense like his ass off the whole game, and then all of a sudden turns it on offensively in the fourth quarter, which is amazing. So it goes to show you, it's not how you start, because I think they only had 13 points in the first quarter. It's how you finish, and they finished with a flurry in the fourth quarter, and Mikal Bridges was the impetus to that on offense and defense. But there were a couple things that happened in this game that were just amazing as they started to unfold, because everybody wanted Cat to do more. Cat, do more. We need to get him more involved, and he was a dominating force in the first half of this game, and they got him the ball, and it was great. As you said, it was great that the Boston Celtics went cold again, 25% from 3-point. It's insane that this is one of the best three-point shooting teams, and they're shooting this poorly in these first two games, which is great, and hopefully it continues at Madison Square Garden. But you think about a couple things that happened here. Mikal Bridges went off for 14 points in the fourth quarter. Karl Anthony Towns has a really key tip-in and a foul for a three-point play. And then from that point on, Brunson takes over, and he scores 6 straight points for the Knicks and the final 6 points for the Knicks. And then, of course, Mikal Bridges makes the steal, or the great block and steal at the end of the game. This really reminded me of the 93-94 Knicks playoff run. And the reason I say that is because that year the Knicks played 25 playoff games. They swept the Nets, and then they had to go to 3 series, all 7 games. Do you know how many games that they had where they scored over 100 points in those 25 playoff games?
And probably not a lot. Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Every single game was like just beating each other up hard. Yeah, and think about some of the players they played against.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the players that they had on their own team. And this is exactly what this felt like last night. I mean, I felt like I was watching the 94 Knicks again, that playoffs where it was just coming down to the wire, who's going to make the play, who's going to get the turnover, who's going to hit the big shot. And I have to say, it was, I mean, when the game was over, I was like, I cannot believe that they won that game.
Yeah, I mean, as it was going down to the wire, and of course the Celtics have the last possession, I'm like, God, how devastating would this be to come all the way back and lose, which is the same feeling that I had in game 1, and the fact that they suffocate him on defense. And by the way, you know, Mikal Bridges is going to be the story defensively, but Mitchell Robinson on Jason Tatum to force him into that horrible shot pass, whatever he was thinking there, is something that I think went unnoticed after the game, because you know, he could have gotten worked in that situation.
That was a great switch, actually.
Yeah, I mean, and it ended up working out. I'm sure Jason Tatum was like, hell, I'll just be able to get right around Mitchell Robinson, and his agility in that situation was great. But the way you mentioned in the beginning, it's Karl Anthony Towns. In the middle, it's Jalen Brunson. At the end, it's Mikal Bridges. And that's what it's going to take with all this talent on this team to keep this run going.
And not to forget about Mitchell Robinson.
Of course,
or OG Anunoby. Or
everybody contributed.
Or Josh Hart, who continues. You know, he and Mikal Bridges played the most minutes last night again. They're just like Energizer bunnies. They just don't stop. So they got something special going on right now. It's obvious to everybody who's watching this. And on the other side, the Boston Celtics, their best players are basically not playing well at all. I mean, their offensive output is just like.
I mean, Jason Tatum.
Are we watching $500 million worth of players, or what are we watching?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this is a team that obviously was put together and it worked last year. They won a championship, and Jason Tatum is one of the most aesthetically pleasing players to watch in the NBA when he's going right. But I mean, the amount of missed shots that this guy had. I mean, in the fourth quarter, and when he had the ball in his hands, I was happy. I was like, he's going to miss another shot. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And Jaylen Brown got off to a great start. Porzingis still wasn't right. You could tell he had a couple of key plays, but the guy was not himself, which is a major factor in this thing.
But so he had points in this game.
He did, but
the only other thing I would say is that every starting player for the Knicks was a minus for this game. Mitchell Robinson was like a plus 18. And not to go unnoticed either is the substitution pattern that Tom Thibodeau was using at the end of this game to force fouls and taking Mitchell Robinson off the court. When
they had a foul to give, kept Mitchell Robinson in. When they made that foul, OG comes in for Mitch. Yeah.
I mean, those are little things that Tom Thibodeau controls, and things worked out where he could do that, and he did it, and he did it successfully. But I mean, the shooting problems for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, just hopefully they continue. Just hopefully they continue. And then just these hustle plays by the Knicks and the defense by the Knicks, and the fact that you held Boston under 100 points, you held them 90 points. I mean, it's mind-boggling in today's NBA that team with those players, are being held to that many points. The only other thing I would say is that the bench for the Knicks was outscored again, significantly by the bench of the Boston Celtics. But say what you want. I mean, the fact that you can hold the Celtics to 90 points and beat them, that's
yeah, I mean,
amazing.
and a lot of it is the Knicks defense and how well they played, and a lot of it's the fact that this team just doesn't normally shoot like this. I mean, and it is great to see. I'm glad it's happening now, and there has to be some serious doubt with the Celtics, even with a team that ended up winning a championship last year. The fact that twice in a row in their home building, they blew 20-point leads to this team, and Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges are making the plays at the end of the game, the championship plays at the end of the game, and they're not. I mean, I can't imagine, what Joe Mazzulla, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all these guys, Derek White are thinking. I mean, they definitely have the championship DNA, the things that we talk about, they got it done. But, I mean, this is a major double punch in the face. And this is not your normal NBA. I mean, like when you talk about like big runs and big leads and things being coughed up and the NBA being a game of runs, sure. But what happened in these two games? On the road against the defending champs, 20-point leads late in the game. And it wasn't even just like everybody will talk about the 20-point lead because that was the biggest. But like when you're down 16 with 7.5 minutes to go.
Chip away. And you got to hope that the Celtics miss open shots. And again, last night, how many uncontested shots did they miss?
A ton.
I mean, when I say uncontested, it means there's no nick within 5 feet of the Celtic player that's shooting. So we always say it, we make fun of it, and we call it a make or miss league, and that's exactly what this is. And the way that Jalen Brunson goes to the hoop late in this game and gets fouls and gets layups and takes control of the game, that's the point guard that every single Knick fan has been praying for. And, like I said, we haven't had one since Walt Frazier that has commanded the game and controlled the game the way he has. And when he needs something, he goes and gets it, man. It is. I mean, it's a great team win, and that's what the Knicks of the 70s were. They were a great team. Of course, they had Walt Frazier, and he was the premier player. But when you think about the collective grouping and Red Holzman, the way, and I hate to do this to younger fans because you guys didn't see this. But that's the way they would win games. They would share the ball. It would be DeBusschere one night. It would be Bradley the next night. It would be Phil Jackson, defending the inbound ball and tipping the ball, and it would end up in Walt Frazier's hands. Willis Reed would make a 25-foot jump shot with two guys on him. I mean, that's exactly what we're looking at here.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is this entire year and even throughout the Pistons series, like we weren't making comparisons to their great teams of the past with this group. We were talking about how
these two games have been unbelievable.
I know, but what I'm saying is that we hadn't seen that from them until now. I mean, they were a team that looked like they were underachieving, that they were confused on how to play with each other, that they were talented and could beat up the crappy teams in the league, could never gel together against the good teams in the league. And then throughout the Pistons series, they found themselves, and with Jalen Brunson leading the charge as the most clutch player in the league, they have now found this championship look, and now you can talk about them defensively like the 90s Knicks. You could talk about them like the spreading out the offense and who's going to be the hero like the NBA Finals champions of years and years ago. And we didn't do that. We did it with last year's team when we compared them to the 90s Knicks a million times. We were talking about the Rangers and the Knicks and the 94 comparisons and everything that was going on. We hadn't done that the entire year because they didn't deserve that. And now 3 unbelievable basketball games in a row. Game 6 in Detroit and game 1 and 2 in Boston. They have not lost a road game in the playoffs, and they come home to the Garden where they have struggled. But
here's what you do. This is what I think Tom Thibodeau, Jim Dolan, Leon Rose need to do. They need to tell all the Knicks family members, get the hell out of town. Just let the Knicks worry about just being the Knicks. Don't let them be distracted by all the ticket requests
Yeah.
Everybody needs this. I need this access. I need that access. Get rid of the families. Get them out of town. Because whatever it is about them on the road is truly remarkable. Because you're there and there's 19,000 people screaming at you, and you get down by 20 in 2 games. I can't reiterate just how impressive that is. I mean,
how about how unlikely this is? I mean, you're talking about a Celtics team that has been dominant for a couple years in a row, had beat the Knicks up every single time they faced each other in the regular season. And then they're cruising in 2 games at home. They are cruising. Doesn't look like the Knicks can keep up. Looks like they're totally overmatched twice in back-to-back games. And there's a point in game 2 I'm thinking, man, I guess this game 1 thing was a fluke, and, man, the Celtics are that much better than the Knicks. Nope. Happens again. This is insane.
That's just our negative New York sports fan take on
when you're down 20, what are you supposed to say? You're supposed to be like, they're going to come back? I mean, in 2 games in a row, this crap doesn't happen. It never does.
You just hang in there, man. You grind it out, and that's exactly what they did, man. I mean, it was so satisfying. Like when Kevin Harlan said, all right, good night, everybody. We're going to go to the next game. I'm like, what just happened?
Yeah,
just so fast they went away from it, and then you got to turn on MSG and you see your boy Wally there. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's so satisfying watching. It's not like a really pretty brand of basketball. It's a grind out.
You don't care. I mean, we don't care.
Baby.
Yeah, we don't. I don't care about how it looks or whatever. And this we are falling in love with this team for the first time all year. And when the Knicks have turned it around in the last number of years, starting with Tibbs and Julius Randle, you love those teams. And Hartenstein and DiVincenzo, you love the grit. Those guys are gone. It just didn't feel right the entire year. And now with the Pistons series and these 2 games, now everybody's in love with them, and now you trust them, and now you think that they're capable of anything. And this type of stuff, these big upsets in series, because this is what this is. Just because they won these 2 games, let's not forget how much of an underdog that they were. I saw Sean Grandy, who is the play-by-play voice of the Celtics, his final call. And he goes, and now the New York Knicks, a team that was written off in the middle of the season as a championship contender, as a 2-games-0 lead. And he's absolutely right. I mean, every Knicks fan didn't believe it. Nobody in the NBA believed it because they hadn't earned that respect. They got their asses kicked by every single good team. So I was like, this team they're a fraud. They're not going to be able to do anything in the playoffs.
It also just goes to show you that it's about the playoffs. It's not about the regular season, obviously.
But generally in the NBA, what happens in the regular season happens in the postseason.
Well, I will say this, that, this game was the Karl Anthony Towns game early on.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome to see.
Then it was Bridges and Brunson in the 4th quarter, but Karl Anthony Towns had that key putback and the 3-point play.
And he got screwed with that 3rd foul. That to me was a ridiculous call to put him on the bench.
OG Anunoby was barely scored in this game.
Yeah, but
Mikal Bridges going into the 4th quarter didn't have any points. So, this was so unexpected. And I don't know, it was almost like Mikal Bridges, a light went off or something. I can't explain it. Where he just said, man, screw this. I'm going to take over.
Yeah, there was a point where they kept feeding him because, 3 straight possessions he had scored. And then he got hot with those mid-range jumpers that he nails every time. They don't even touch the rim, just right through. And then he started hitting some threes, and then on the defensive end, he started getting crazy. The fact that they made another play like that, where Mikal Bridges, blocks what I guess Tatum was trying to pass the ball. I don't even know what the hell he was doing at that point. He's completely screwed.
They called it a block steal.
Yeah, a block steal, and then it grabs it and throws the ball up in the air again, just like he did in Game 1. I was looking at the time because there was more time this time than in Game 1, and Brunson knew it as he was running down and chasing the ball just to make sure that it didn't go out of bounds to give the Celtics at least a couple tenths of a second. That guy, as much flack as he has gotten throughout the year for not being the player that everybody thought that the Knicks were getting, in critical moments in this series has been lights out.
By the way, he does have championship DNA, just like Carmelo Anthony had championship DNA. And but I'm just saying, what I see here is I see a guy that, is a full court player. He plays defense, he plays offense, and the amount of energy that they have to spend on defense, which is why the Knicks wanted both Anunoby and Bridges, was to be able to combat what the Celtics have in Brown and Tatum. This was the the answer or the anecdote to those guys, just owning games and taking over games. So you needed wings that were going to be able to play against those types of players. And the defense part of it has shown itself. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It really has shown itself in these, and really in the last 3 games, but even in that Detroit series, that was a knockdown, drag-out series, and nobody from the Knicks backed down. Nobody.
No, and you saw the stat at the end of the game that they put up that teams that start 2-0 out on the road in the NBA playoffs have won the series 87% of the time.
Listen, just it's one possession, it's one quarter,
and
one
just
half,
facts
one
I'm
game.
putting out there, man.
I could also tell you the Knicks don't win at MSG. So get rid of the families and let the boys just hang out together and just keep everybody away from them. And I hope their families don't bother them.
There's 2 more games. If it goes 7, there's 2 more games in Boston. So all you need is 2 more wins. So if you don't think they're going to win at the Garden, they got 2 more opportunities on the road to do it.
As a New York sports fan, this last year's run by the Mets was a really unexpected run.
Yep.
Now, going into this season with all the moves the Knicks had made, we expected a little bit better from them in the regular season, and of course Boston and Cleveland had great runs, and OKC had a great run in the regular season. And the Knicks were kind of floundering, but we knew they were going to be at least through the regular season, they were like a second-tier good team. They weren't one of those top 3 teams by virtue of their record and by virtue of their record against those 3 teams.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they've kicked it into another gear, and they're lucky that they're catching a cold shooting Celtics team. Because, again, when you look at the uncontested 3-point shots the Celtics are missing, it just doesn't add up. There's something else going on there. And this is 2 games where it's been 25% or less shooting.